Welcome to Evolve, Reinventing Leadership, Building Freedom Cultures, with thought leader and award-winning author Yvette Bethel. This podcast provides you with insights and ideas you can use to reinvent your culture through trust and the principles of interconnectivity, flow, and balance. At a time when the world is rewriting the rules of work, traditional leadership practices are not enough. It's time to perceive persistent challenges through a new lens. It's time to evolve.
Welcome to Evolve. This is Yvette Bethel, and in this episode, we will explore paradigm blindness. According to Daniel Martin, cultural paradigms help govern how people relate to themselves and those around them. These models are cultivated over time and represent customs of interaction that a culture's members use in determining the thoughts and actions involved in their day-to-day cultural experiences. Being enculturated into a culture means learning its paradigms and the sets of preferences and taste which are developed by the culture. A paradigm is a model or example of something, and there are numerous paradigm potentials. For the purpose of this exploration, paradigms refer to cultural paradigms, and one globally recognized paradigm is control. It's embedded deeply within cultures, influencing the design of systems and structures as well as accepted norms that dictate how people interact with each other. So what is paradigm blindness? Paradigms contain a set of assumptions, beliefs, and theories that make up a worldview. Fun, innovation, fear, control, and some traditions are paradigms that you encounter. Sometimes they coexist within each other. According to Staci Friedel, paradigm blindness is a state that keeps us from creating something new because we firmly believe the way we see it is the way it is and the way it will always be. Paradigm blindness shuts down innovative problem solving and creativity. When leaders are blind to their paradigm and its layers, they can be conditioned to protect it. Friedel explained, groups and organizations are unwilling or unable to accept any challenge to their core ways of making sense of the world. In essence, their worldviews, or in the case of a company, we can call it a worldview. This means that when people are blind to the paradigm they exist within, they accept it as the way things will always be. At the same time, they can also be blinded to the existence and potential of different paradigms. So even when they implement new performance, leadership, service, or other paradigms, they behave as though they're still in the previous paradigm, avoiding meaningful change. Control is based, or the control-based paradigms have proven themselves effective over centuries because they are compatible with high performance. While this was proven over time, control paradigms also cut organizations off from ideas that open them up to creative potentials that can pave the way to growth and sustainability. Some people are not aware that they are being controlled. Others are aware and attempt to beat the system, seeking opportunities to take advantage. There are also people that are aware, but they just grumble or complain about the effects of control. They won't fight for freedom because they believe the control is the way it will always be. They sometimes have no idea what an alternative paradigm would look like. There are times when we can be so desensitized to the paradigm we live within, we just accept it as the norm. We need to take responsibility for considering how our paradigm serves us, how we use it, how it limits us, and then consciously and deliberately choose a path that best fits our goals and core values. The paradigm of control in business has been in place since the industrial age. Its long-term presence and prolific application have contributed to the existing level of paradigm blindness. When the majority loses its sensitivity to paradigms that do not support their professional growth, people stagnate while they're being exploited for growth and profits. So, when you ask yourself about paradigms and how they anchor themselves in place, stories, leadership styles, policies, procedures, power hierarchies, and training are all designed to hold toxic paradigms in place because they operate according to rules of the control paradigm. This is how paradigm blindness survives over the long term. Here are 3 more ways cultural paradigms remain fixed. Number 1, paradigm blindness can minimize the dissonance that happens when people become aware of asymmetry embedded within their paradigm. Number 2, people have vested interests in maintaining their paradigms, whether they are aware of it or not. Number 3, there are paradigms within paradigms that serve some people, holding the macro paradigm in place. For instance, you can have a paradigm of control with a sub-paradigm of secrecy that leads to weak communication practices and low transparency because of the need for keeping secrets. Sometimes, people who control others don't want to acknowledge their true paradigm because they would have to take responsibility for decisions that negatively affected others, and they would have to release their vested interests in power, lifestyle, and other benefits. When people who are being controlled are blind to the paradigm they exist within, it can cause them to ignore their own needs. This can happen because when they're so busy struggling to survive within a toxic paradigm, they become so preoccupied with their survival needs that their higher level needs like belonging, self-esteem, and self-actualization are marginalized. For example, most people prefer a constructive environment where the relationships and communication are healthy. They feel like they belong and they can grow. Instead, when they have to navigate a toxic control culture, the politics and competition negatively affect communication patterns and ultimately performance. This is because they're too busy navigating a culture designed primarily for business growth and not for personal or professional growth. Paradigm blindness allows toxic cultures to endure because, as Friedel asserted, the way people are conditioned to see the world is the way it is and always be, according to them. When paradigm blindness exists at the top of an organization, retention can be a challenge because employees are feeling the effects of a control paradigm doing what it is designed to do. And when this happens, they will eventually leave. They're forced to find a new job elsewhere because they don't perceive a growth path with their current employers. When you and others are unaware of your paradigm and its real impact, you can be uncomfortable, but not challenged enough by the discomfort because you've been conditioned to accept it. Paradigm blindness can serve some constituents' goals and not others. In a hierarchical structure, everyone is contributing to a cultural paradigm that supports the minority. So the key for breaking free of paradigm blindness is to question the paradigm that you're in, even when you're comfortable. This is because for the controlled, falling into a comfort zone under these conditions can happen because of a misinformed sense of security. For the controllers, they should question themselves because they can become desensitized to their abuses of power. When we come back, we will explore how you can wake up to your paradigm.
Organizational Soul is a mission-driven organization and network where we specialize in trust in academia, families, and organizations. We are building a community of leaders who are interested in trust and culture. If you are interested in our updates, you can sign up for our newsletter at orgsoul.com. As a thank you for joining our community, you can access our free resources that are designed to help you build your brand as a trusted leader as you contribute to safe space. Sign up now at orgsoul.com.
Welcome back to Evolve. Cultural paradigm awareness is the first step toward addressing paradigm blindness. The solution for paradigm blindness involves several actions that serve to awaken people to the fact that they're within an imposed paradigm, and they can take informed action about which paradigm or paradigms they will accept. The trouble is that the conditioning can be so deep that people can be emotionally triggered when they're invited to contemplate ideas that challenge their belief systems and paradigm. Signs of your paradigm exist all around you. For this reason, you need new eyes to perceive them. You need to listen with different ears, and you should consistently challenge your thinking and beliefs. You can also identify what you feel when you operate within different paradigms. Ask yourself questions like, what are my emotions? Am I usually exhausted or energized? How safe do I feel, and why? How often are my core values being challenged? How authentic are the people around me? Honestly answering these questions can provide you with some valuable insight. Once you uncover the true paradigm that you're a part of, the next step is to do something about your alignment or misalignment with it. For some people, this may mean you make a change in your job or career over the short or long term. Consider how the paradigm causes alignment or misalignment within yourself, and weigh your needs and the needs of others before making an informed decision. From a leadership perspective, understanding the paradigm you exist within can help you to be clear about what it is that you want to create so you can make informed instead of programmed decisions. For example, if you value freedom and the paradigm you're a part of is controlling people, with paradigm awareness, you can make changes to your leadership style so you're better aligned with your beliefs and values. Freedom cultures can be even more productive with the right leadership. To perceive paradigms that operate within other paradigms, leaders need to be open to perceiving more than one paradigm because there can be separate, interdependent paradigms working together. Let's go back to our previous example of it. When the overall paradigm is control, but there's also a sub-paradigm of blame and secrecy, the blame and secrecy hold the control in place. So the sub-paradigm needs to be deconstructed. Here are a few questions you can ask yourself to uncover the layers. Which paradigm am I operating within? Is there more than one in play? Which macro paradigm is the sub-paradigm operating within? And how are they interdependent? What can I do to deconstruct the unhealthy sub-paradigms that are strengthening the toxic macro paradigm? It's not enough to perceive the paradigms you're a part of. You should also be able to identify and articulate the type of paradigm you'd like to be a part of. We've been conditioned to believe the control paradigm is the most suitable or the most reliable one through experiences, academia, media, and other sources. This isn't true. You can create any paradigm you choose. So how can you shift to a paradigm that really serves you more? With paradigm blindness, your ignorance of the paradigm doesn't protect you. Instead, it fully exposes you to the paradigm as you are a consenting participant. Your conditioning does not excuse or protect you from the damage that can be done by the paradigm. So your first step is to become aware. Cultural paradigm awareness should be connected to paradigm proactivity, core value alignment or realignment, and behavioral modeling. As a leader, you should take steps to ensure core values like trustworthiness and empathy are in balance with values and the needs of others in the business. This can be difficult because control paradigms make it inherently difficult to shift to another paradigm because by their very nature, control paradigms are coercive. They don't tolerate different approaches, nor do they support the freedom to choose. For instance, I overheard a manager in a command and control culture once say to an employee, "I don't pay you to think." If you are seeking to shift your paradigm away from a strong control emphasis to a different cultural mix, it's an inside-out process. You can start by perceiving your true cultural paradigm, then deciding which paradigm or paradigms support the type of growth that's best for the team, and then proactively changing how you contribute to the current paradigm. If this is not something that you can change, then you may decide to resign or work with people who can. Next, you can develop the skills you need to detect the old paradigm when it shows up out of habit, and then learn how to deconstruct it. And finally, you should be willing to challenge the status quo when it makes sense. There are paradigms that exist that balance the needs of employees with the needs of the business. Ones that feature trust, innovation, personal and professional growth, and fun are only a few examples, as we said before. These paradigms take vision, commitment, leadership, and accountability to work, because the globally accepted paradigm of control can sneak into businesses slowly and surreptitiously through misaligned sourcing practices and unconscious leaders. So with that, I would like to thank you for joining us for this episode of Evolve. Sign up for our newsletter at www.orgsoul.com. See you next time at Evolve, reinventing leadership, building freedom cultures.
Thank you for listening to Evolve, reinventing leadership, building freedom cultures. Learn more about our proprietary trust, leadership, and culture courses and certifications at the IFB Academy. You can check them out at organizationalsoul.learnworlds.com.